Tonight we honor and celebrate important members of the St. Edward community who, each in his own way, has touched the lives of our young men and has helped ensure that we will touch the lives of future generations of Edsmen forevermore. Our first Bronze Eagle Award recipient is John Keychek, class of 1971. Some words that come to mind when thinking about John are loyalty, commitment, under the radar, and selfless. John, along with his wife Chris, has quietly been there time and time again for St. Ed's.
Truth be known, I muddled my way through my 4 years of high school. It was a great relief to graduate for both my parents and myself, especially my mother. And my mother told my wife that I spent most of my school years looking out the window, which was not far from the truth at all. Yet somehow, along the way, St. Edward left an indelible mark of the pride of belonging to a community that fosters the idea that hard work and commitment to God, your family, and your life's choices often results in success. When I reflect back on those important choices I made in my life, I realize how very important the St. Edward mantra of the competence to see and the courage to act has been.
Our second Bronze Eagle honoree is Jim Fox, a member of the class of 1986. We rehearsed a Motown entrance for Wings last year. I can tell some of you know where this is going. It was a Temptations lip sync, complete with purple suits, and a performance that most will not forget, no matter how hard you try. But we quickly noticed Jim's commitment to getting things right. While it was pretty clear that none of us were going to be asked to Dancing with the Stars, it was Jim that clearly wanted to be the best of the worst. We nicknamed him Dance Captain during rehearsal.
We didn't know it then, but our decision to co-chair Wings has blessed us in so many ways, including making so many new friends and rekindling relationships with old friends and classmates. I'd also like to thank the army of hardworking, dedicated volunteers, staff, students, and generous donors who made our job easy. The hardest thing I had to do was wear a purple suit and dance to a Temptations tune, and talk about expanding your comfort zone. So what we do as a community through Wings and other similar functions here at St. Ed's is impactful and life-changing for these young men. And I'm very honored and humbled to be a small part of that process.
The Brother Thomas Henning CSC Award is presented to a non-graduate who has demonstrated unselfish loyalty to St. Edward High School over a significant number of years and committed to the ideals of a Holy Cross education. Daniel's effusive personality is contagious. He doesn't as so much greet you as he attacks you with kindness. In Latin, there is a phrase known as pietas, and it was considered the Roman ideal of how to live your life. All thoughts and decisions are made based upon this order: God, country, family, self. Daniel Cavally is a model of pietas.
Thank you. I accept this honor, touched and humbled, knowing what giants have come before, and, to use a pet phrase of Brother James Spooner, who hired me, knowing on whose shoulders I stand. Looking at the names that have preceded me in years gone by as Brother Thomas Henning honorees, how could I not feel humbled and grateful to walk in their footsteps?
The St. Andre Bessette CSC Award is presented annually to a volunteer who has shown an overwhelming commitment to St. Edward High School. Jim writes, as you know, St. Brother Andre had an unyielding devotion to his faith and to St. Joseph, the ultimate selfless servant. He welcomed all in Montreal by holding open the door in a gesture of hospitality. Tonight's recipient, Brother Robert Lavelle, CSC, and a proud member of the class of 1958, models that same lifelong devotion. Through his 3.5-decade career as headmaster of Gilmore Academy, his almost equal tenure on our Board of Trustees, his wise counsel to all Holy Cross secondary school educators across the world, and his recent commitment to our LABRA program, faithful in going out to serve the homeless every Thursday night, Brother Robert has exemplified the Holy Cross call to selfless servant leadership.
As I look around the room and have heard our other speakers, we all share a connection of 13500 Detroit Avenue, the location that has been the epicenter of Holy Cross education for close to 7 decades. It is events such as this that continue the building of our St. Edward community, of support which, in the words of our Holy Cross founder, Blessed Basil Morrow, must prepare new generations for better times than ours. As an alum, a Holy Cross brother and educator and board member, I've been privileged and grateful to have joined so many others over the years who continue to embrace the St. Edward Holy Cross mission and vision.
Alumnus of the Year is the highest award that is bestowed on a St. Edward alumnus. The award is presented to an alumnus who has achieved significant success in his primary field of endeavor, prominence in his community, and has made a lifelong commitment to the ideals of Holy Cross education. Jim writes, "It is with a very special gratitude that I want to thank Dan Geib, class of 1976, and write on his behalf. For Dan, the notion of selfless service courses through his veins. Service is a part of the fabric that makes Dan who he is. As board chair these past 6 years, Dan has provided that steady counsel and a ready, non-judgmental ear. It is clear that Dan commits that 110% that separates good volunteers from great volunteers."
I'm going to continue to serve. I want to continue to serve. I think I still have something to help and bring to the table. I want to make St. Ed's the best school it can be. I think when you work hard and you're climbing to the top, it is hard to get to the top. It's even harder to stay on top. Service is really important. I remember Dee Dee and I we volunteered, actually she volunteered us. We were serving the homeless down at St. Malachy's. It was around Christmas time, and we were there with a couple other couples, and this one other couple from St. Angela's brought their 10 and 11-year-old children, a boy and a girl. And the 2 little children go over to him and say, "Hey, these people, they keep coming up and asking for more, and now they want like an apple, and they want the sandwich that's in the bag, and they're probably filling their pockets for lunch or whatever." And his comment was, "We don't judge, we serve." And those 2 kids walked back to the window, and the looks on their face, to me, that was a very touching moment. And I think when you serve others, you have those moments, and those are what make a difference.
No one modeled unwavering commitment like St. Joseph. No one has been more selfless and more giving to St. Edward students than Brother James Everett, CSC, who had recently completed his 40th year at St. Ed's. We did not know that we'd be honoring Brother James posthumously. As we reflect upon his faith-filled life and think about Brother James' impact on our St. Edward community, this presentation of this award seems timely. Not because Brother James has passed on to his heavenly reward, but because Brother James is St. Joseph to us.
A few days after the passing of Brother James, I was informed that Brother James actually started to write his acceptance speech for this evening. Now, what a blessing that we get to hear from Brother James Everett himself tonight. This is what Brother James wrote. It is with gratitude that I am awarded the St. Joseph Award. Many thanks to Mr. Kabaki, Paul Mocho, Colleen Kiley, and the St. Edward alumni. It has been a fantastic 40 years here at St. Edward High School. 40 years that I will never forget. Thank you all for coming to this dinner tonight. Be assured of my prayers for the continued success of St. Edward High School. You will all be remembered. May St. Joseph, St. Andre bless us tonight. I'm sorry that I cannot be with you this evening. And as sad as it is, and as strange as it is, considering what transpired in the last few weeks, that's as far as he got. Brother James has been a steady rock, a man of hope, and a role model for the life lived to the fullest.
So on behalf of our students, faculty, and staff, members at St. Edward, thank you to everyone here tonight for all you do collectively to enrich the lives of our students and secure the future of this great school. Hail to the green and gold, hail our alma mater, praise her with voices bold, with hearts that never falter. Hail to dear St. Edward High, keep her banners waving, loyal sons in unity, everlasting praise we sing. Thank you.